This is Steve Tortorello, the owner of Warrior Wrestling, and I am drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody. Want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinkin' at Moe's be a brand ambassador. They encourage everybody to break out of that comfort zone, live their best self, which, hey, that's what got me starting the podcast. But they got great clothing, great apparel, t-shirts, hoodies, beanies, hats, all that good stuff. Be sure, link will be in the description, and use the code Drinkin' at Moe's to get 10% off your order. Let's fucking go.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Drinkin' at Moe's. Big Mo here. You know the drill. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Trying to do this, AEW style with the way he just ends up rattling through all that. Because you know what?
Yeah.
Liking, sharing, comment helps with the YouTube algorithm, which is a pain in the butt. We're most places you can find audio podcasts. But today, I'm excited to have with me once again Steve, the promoter, owner of Warrior Wrestling, getting ready for a big, epic show October 6th. How are you doing?
I am great, Mo. It is great to be back with you. As we said a little bit off air, it's great to see your collection behind you, which is awesome.
Oh,
Brand
yeah.
new background to me. And we're excited that we've got a Warrior Wrestling show coming up on October 6th. We're back in action.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, I was remembering when we first started talking, Warrior Wrestling was doing the shows on Fite. And I don't think they had gotten Fite Plus yet up and running. Nope. But then you guys ended up moving over Pro Wrestling TV. Now you guys, this show are back Fite TV on Fite Plus. So if you're subscribing to that, you know what? I'm going to highly recommend it because I already do. You're going to get the whole Warrior lineup. You're getting all the other, oh God, countless numbers of promotions they got on there. But this show in particular, I am excited.
Same. We're really excited about this because I think it's going to be, number one, it's in the Bendix Arena in South Bend, which is one of our favorite venues for wrestling anywhere in the country. Also, we've got Mike Santana coming back to fight Bryan Keith, and I use the word fight there on purpose because it's going to be an absolute slobber knocker, dirty, just fight, drag down fight. We've got a great title match with Encore More coming in to challenge Casey Navarro. FTC LLC has announced they're doing a family therapy session after what happened with Frank and KC in the match with Cardona in June. We've got Sky Blue and Trevor Outlaw. Kenosuke Takeshita is back, taking on Storm Grayson. We've got Missa and Rachel Armstrong. We've got the luckiest man in wrestling, Jordan Basiglia, is defending that streak against the OVW champion, the veteran Vaughn. We've got Koda Hernandez and Sabin Guage. It is every piece of wrestling you could possibly want. High flying, hard hitting, women's action, great characters, AEW stars. We're psyched for this show.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, you bring up a good thing there. You know, a little bit of something for everybody in the show. As, you know, Warrior has a very good, in my opinion, reputation of doing. I mean, you know, we'll go ahead and start off with the one that you first mentioned there. Mike Santana making his return against the bounty hunter Bryan Keith, who a lot of people might have seen recently on AEW television. And, you know, you hear it said a lot. The card is subject to change. Mm-hmm. And this one, it's in there. It was originally scheduled to be Eddie Kingston in there. But, you know, with the responsibilities he's gotten of being, you know, a two-belt champ right now and, you know, trying to, you know, mend some injuries from what I'm hearing. But you know, Warrior, I mentioned having a good reputation of, having a little something for everybody. Another thing that y'all do good with is if you need to bring in a replacement, y'all find some damn replacements. I mean, I remember a show, it was, what was it? It was supposed to be Will Ospreay in there, but then boom, you got walking out the machine Brian Cage. But, this time, Mike Santana making his return, and, I could figure out a few words to describe this match. The one that keeps on popping into my head, good old JR and it's slobber knocker. It's definitely going to be that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, the card is always subject to change. One of the things that we're very lucky and blessed is that over our time of the last 5 years of running Warrior Wrestling, we've had the opportunity to build relationships with so many different wrestlers, so that when something unfortunate happens, like Eddie Kingston, he's nursing a nasty back injury. Basically, he talked with Ring of Honor and New Japan, and it was like, hey, he's only going to do ROH in New Japan while he's champion because he doesn't want to agitate that any further on the indies. So huge loss, right? Eddie goes down. We call Santana. Literally within a half an hour, boom, Santana's like, I'm in. And if you're a Warrior fan, Warrior Wrestling 19, Santana wrestled his first singles match in years for us, and his only singles match in years in Cicero Stadium in Chicago against Speedball Mike Bailey, and it stole the show. It was amazing. And that man came back through the curtain and down the stairs into the locker room, and he collapsed on the floor, and he said, I'm so happy. I just want to wrestle. And he said, this is the best night I've had in years. This is a guy that loves wrestling. He loves being out there in front of the fans. And so we've got that good rapport with him. So when we gave him the call and said, hey, Eddie's out, would you be interested in fighting the bounty hunter? He said, absolutely. So we think, we've had some people say, oh my gosh, this match is even more exciting than when Eddie was in it, because Santana is on a hell of a tear right now. And he brings this great style, this great wild fight style to the match. So we're very excited for this. We think it's going to be an absolute banger.
Oh, yeah. And, he's definitely, like you said, on a bit of a tear now, especially coming back from that nasty injury that he had, trying to make up for lost time and, getting in there with somebody like Brian Keith. Yeah, that's definitely going to be one that, hell, I was sold when it was, Eddie and Brian Keith. Now it's like, okay, if I'm not going to get that, I'll take this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that, again, either way, whether it was Eddie or Santana, you're getting a fight. You're getting an absolute fight. And one piece of this show is you're going to see a fight.
Oh, most definitely. And then another match, when you're running down the card pretty quick, there was, a former guest of mine, Jordan, the good luck streak that he's been having, going up against is going to be one hell of a formidable opponent in Jack Vaughn. Is this good luck streak going to be in jeopardy? Who knows? Because, I mean, he's been able to pull off some wins that, you would have thought that streak was going to be in jeopardy before.
Yeah, he beat Sam Beal, he beat EC3, he beat Beastman. So all totally different challenges, from the stature of EC3 being current NWA champ, Beastman having probably 300 pounds on Jordan, Sam Beal trying a lot of dastardly stuff in their match. And so somehow he keeps winning. And now he's got Jack Vaughn, who is a wily veteran. If anyone knows Jack Vaughn, they know that there's a lot of fun to what he does, but he knows wrestling. And he knows how to pull things off in that ring. So it's going to be very interesting to see, can Jordan's luck keep running, or is the veteran going to be too much for him? And again, Jack Vaughn has been featured to an extent in Wrestlers on Netflix. He's the OVW champion. This is a guy who has stock that is also rising.
Oh, most definitely. And, some people, especially wrestling fans, they might see some of his TikToks, the shorter videos, where he showing a little bit more of a humorous side to things. they might, and it might be to definitely be wrong of them to underestimate Jack Vaughn. But then you see him in OVW on the wrestlers, and you know what he can really do. Yeah, this one's gonna be it's gonna be a hell of a fight. It's gonna be interesting to see how that good luck streak continues if it does, because I hate to say I I have confidence in Jordan. I'll put it that way, but this one is definitely another one of those that it's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, agreed. There's just it's a toss up, so we'll see.
Yep, he keeps on getting those matches, but he somehow finds a way.
Yeah.
Now, another, we talked a little bit about, you know, Frank the Clown and him and some of his FTC LLC guys. They got three matches on the card.
Yeah, I
First
know.
one is one that it's interesting because this one, Takeshita versus Storm Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
Takeshita in the stuff that he's got going with AEW and this Don Callis family, showing a little bit of a cunning side, kind of similar to the Weasley ways of Frank the Clown and some of his
Mm-hmm.
FTC LLC guys. So it's going to be interesting to see the the different styles of cunning that they'll be bringing here, because it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that yes, Takeshita is on the bad guy side of the ledger in AEW, but even with Don Callis, Takeshita is dominant.
Mm.
Callis might get involved here or there, but really it's Takeshita who beat Kenny clean. It's Takeshita who has destroyed people inside blood and guts. And Frank the Clown and his guys tend to be a little bit more weaselly, a little bit more slippery. Takeshita is more forward and dominant. The other interesting piece too is it's going to be interesting to see what form of Takeshita we get, because Takeshita had been aligned with Callis this summer when he showed up, but we got more of a fan-friendly, fun-loving Takeshita in his match with Warhorse. So
That was a good one.
it might be a question about maybe when he's outside of Don Callis's influence, he might be a little bit different. But I can tell you this, nobody's cheering for Frank the Clown and his guys.
Oh, yep, nope, definitely not. I in our many episodes we've done, I've kind of made it known my somewhat distaste for Frank the Clown. I told the story before of being there at the St. Louis show, and before the fan fest even started, here walks in Athena, and then all of a sudden you can hear Frank the Clown. Words are hard. Frank the Clown's high pitched squeal, and then him running off. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's torturous. I promise you, and to all of our fans listening, we don't want him here either, right? He won a match and put us in a weird position in December of 21 where we can't fire him, we can't get rid of him. His manager's license is in perpetuity, and he's managing currently our champion, and he's managing a stable of guys that are up and comers. We don't want him either. So if anybody's listening, I promise you, it's not our fault.
yeah, and not too many people have been able to get their hands on him, because he usually finds a way to kind of scoot off before anybody gets the chance. I brought it up, and I think it was on Twitter. I actually brought it up when the new Warrior Wrestling podcast coming up. For guests, I brought up, hey, bring back Lance Archer, get him to get his hands on Frank the Clown again. I would
Yeah.
love that.
They have not been on the same show since that happened. And, it was Lance who tossed him off the bleachers, for those that don't know, and almost led to Frank's demise. So I think it's time soon that Lance come finish that job.
Oh, most definitely. Now, we'll go into the championship here in a little bit, but another match that I was intrigued when I saw this match announced because, the styles, I guess, but Sky Blue versus Trevor Outlaw, another one of Frank the Clown's FTC LLC guys. Gonna be interesting, but as those that have watched, AEW Ring of Honor, you don't want to underestimate Sky Blue. She can put on a hell of a match, and it's going to be interesting to see how things go. Trevor Outlaw, not a guy to, underestimate in his own right, but it's going to be interesting because, mentioned Frank the Clown's going to be there. He's going to be in his corner. So it's the thought that always comes to mind is, what the hell is Frank the Clown going to do to get his grubby little hands on this one?
Yeah, no, I have been told, and I don't know if this is the truth or a ruse, but Frank and Trevor have told me that because Frank is focusing so much on Casey's title match and Storm's match with Storm Grayson, that he plans on Trevor wrestling this match on his own. Now, we'll see if that stays the case. But I think you're right. It is definitely a styles make fights kind of match. And Sky Blue is the perpetual plucky underdog. And Trevor Outlaw is a bully and a jerk. So it's the question of, will that plucky underdog be able to overcome that bully and that jerk, especially a bully and a jerk who is willing to cheat, willing to bend the rules, and who has been terrible, frankly, in all of his appearances with Warrior Wrestling. So that's a big question, is can she overcome that? And then, what is that going to look like as a match? Is it Trevor's strength and power or Sky's speed and quickness? So we're really looking forward to that, hoping that Trevor plays by the rules. But if he doesn't, we're pretty confident Sky's going to put him in his place.
Oh, most definitely. If there's somebody out there that can do it, I know I have full confidence in Sky Blue doing it. Although I have to say, I'm going to believe this whole thing with Trevor Outlaw going out there by himself when I see it. Like when we get to the show and he is indeed out there on his own, because I don't see how Frank the Clown isn't going to be out there at some point.
Yeah, I don't trust them. Like I said, I put that caveat on there. I do not take them for their word, but that is what they have told us.
So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that one. Now, another match, one guy I'm not as familiar with, but I've mentioned before, one of many things I like about Warrior Wrestling is getting introduced to some people, some new ones, some people I might not be as familiar with, not having traveled too far out of my general area. But Koda Hernandez versus Sabin Guage. Now, my memory might be a little fuzzy on Sabin Guage. I do recognize that name. Like, we've seen him here before. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
yep.
Koda Hernandez, I'm not as familiar with.
Absolutely. And a lot of people outside of the Chicago area might not be. Sabin was on our last show. He wrestled Cole Radrick, and Koda Hernandez teamed with sort of incredible Iverson against the Bang Bros. Both Koda and Sabin are local Chicago products of the Freelance Wrestling Academy who are incredibly talented. I mean, these guys are some of the next guys coming up. And we're really excited to have them on the show because, like you mentioned, the great thing we try to do at Warrior is mix a little bit of names everybody knows with some names that nobody might know yet. And so hopefully by 6 months from now, a year from now, you get to say, hey, I saw that, I was there. And I met this guy in the Fan Fest, and now look where he is. So we really believe that Koda Hernandez and Sabin Guage are the next guys.
Oh, most definitely. And I'm looking forward to it because I remember Sabin Guage. I knew I recognized that name from somewhere. And hell, he had a hell of a showing there at the last show. So I look forward to seeing him again and, getting introduced to somebody new. Going to be going to be fun. Now, this next one, a full-on women's match, not an intergender match, but Rachel Armstrong versus Missa Kate, who was it her that I was seeing was or is in NWA right now doing things with them?
She is. Yep. She's an NWA star right now, getting a lot of exposure with them, a lot of match time. Missa Kate is another local Chicago wrestler who has gotten a significant amount of exposure and great travel experience under her belts. And she is going to turn some heads. She has the crispness and the snap and the speed in the ring that I think is going to make her an asset for one of the big companies not too far in the future.
Oh, most definitely. And, you know, since you guys announced that match, I have been, trying to, look in and because I haven't seen as much of NWA programming, but I've been looking into her since, you guys announced this match, and it's like, okay, I can get behind that. It's gonna be a good one. Not as familiar with Rachel Armstrong, but you know, you guys have. I feel kind of weird again saying something that I feel Warrior does really good at because it's just like I'm constantly saying it in this episode again, but good women's wrestling. This one is definitely looking into being another one along that line of good women's wrestling in Warrior Wrestling. October 6th, it's going to be good.
Yeah, and that's what we're going for. Like you said, that has been one of our hallmarks all along. And we're not shying away from that anytime soon. We always are seeking to find, sometimes it's the big names in women's wrestling, sometimes it's the names you don't know, and sometimes it's both. So this show is Sky Blue, who's on AEW Dynamite almost every week, and it's got Missa Kate and Rachel Armstrong. So you're going to get to meet new stars and see a big TV star.
Oh, yeah. Warrior Wrestling, you guys have had, I remember clear back to St. Louis and getting to meet Deonna Purrazzo and Athena and, going, Sky Blue now, Missa Kate. It's just amazing. Now, brought up Athena, I know she's doing a lot of busy things there with Ring of Honor. Are we in the future going to be able to see her back defend? Because she is currently
the Warrior Wrestling Women's Champion. Yeah, no, that's correct. It's been over a year now since we've seen Athena, and a lot of people are asking, when is she coming back? Is she defending the belt? What's going on with the belt? I will just say this. I have been told that there are members of our roster who have strong feelings about the Warrior Wrestling Women's Championship, and they may be sharing their feelings about it on the show on the 6th. That's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave it there, but I would not be surprised to hear discussion of the Warrior Wrestling Women's title on Friday, October 6th.
That is interesting. I've already mentioned it to you before we even were recording that I've already told people I'm not doing crap on October the 6th because I'm watching this dang show live, and that is making me look forward to it even more. Just the intrigue of wondering what is going to happen there. Now, before we get into the title match, we did bring up FTC LLC doing a little bit of family therapy because there was a little tension going there towards the beginning of the show at the last show, the Friday Night Lights, before the match happened with Cardona. Now, part of me, probably along with you, not being the fans of Frank the Clown that we are kind of hoping that this is going to be another one of those therapy sessions that doesn't go too well.
Yeah, I usually don't root for people to be in conflict. I'm a peaceful guy. I usually don't wish ill upon anyone. But you know what? I think Frank's problems with KC, his champion, are of Frank's own causing. And we saw what happened in Chicago in June, where Casey told Frank, "Do not get involved in my match with Matt Cardona." And yet, on top of that press box in the football stadium, it was Frank who threw the powder and blinded Cardona so Casey could roll him up and win. And they celebrated together with the fireworks. And if you've seen the video yet on our socials, their walk back to the locker room was contentious because KC wants to prove that he can be champion and win on his own. And Frank seems to not believe that KC can do it on his own. So again, I don't wish drama on any family, maybe on this family.
Yeah, on this one, we'll make an exception because, I have full confidence that Casey Navarro can do it on his own. Like, he's a great talent. He's proven all over the world. He literally made the Warrior title a world title. Like, he's defended it internationally and proven how good he can be when Frank the Clown's not present. So I have all the confidence in him being able to get it done. So like you, I'm not going to always wish ill on anybody, but definitely going to make an exception here with FTC LLC, kind of hoping these cracks just start widening.
Agreed. And we'll see what happens. But you know what? As I said, they reap what they sow. And we'll see when is that family therapy session going to happen? Is that earlier in the show? Is it after some matches and before some matches? Is that going to affect any of the FTC LLC members in their matches? Is it going to help them, or is it going to impede them?
That is going to be interesting to find out because, is it going to start out the show? Is it going to be after the other two FTC LLC matches? Gonna be that distraction for Frank the Clown? Who knows? But like you said, we'll find out October 6th when that show happens, what is going to go down. And I know you and I aren't the only ones kind of hoping for Frank the Clown's demise.
Yeah, we'll see. I think the Warrior faithful will be pretty darn happy if everything blows up in his face, but we're gonna have to see.
Yep. Now getting into it because we still got Casey Navarro. We were talking about him. He's still got a match against Encore More, and one of my notes here: real issues. How are those issues going to play out here in this match? Is that the family therapy that we just talked about, is that going to factor into this match as well? Who knows? And Frank the Clown's always a factor anytime he's out there because him being the Weasley SOB that he is. But I have a good feeling that it's going to be a good match despite all that.
Yeah, I think it will be a great match. Encore Moore is incredible. He is incredibly athletic, incredibly dynamic, very entertaining. He is, I think, probably the most entertaining wrestler on the East Coast. He's based in New York City, and he wrestles for House of Glory, which is where he's come across Casey Navarro a few times in the past. And I really think the fans are going to love Encore, and they are going to will Encore to, if not defeat Casey Navarro, give him the best match he possibly can. And I would not put it past Encore to have a massive moment, right? As we talked about, what happens if Frank and KC aren't on the same page? Can a mistake between the FTC LLC lead to a title change? Oh my God. Imagine that. Imagine if Casey loses the belt and it's Frank's fault. Or imagine if Casey loses the belt and Frank could have helped but didn't. Or imagine if Frank and Casey go their separate ways and Frank or Casey's out there on his own with no Frank and Encore wins. All of the different possibilities that could come to pass are all very intriguing.
Oh, very intriguing. Yeah, you bring up, there's all sorts of scenarios that could end up happening. Which one is it going to be? Oh, man. It's got me just wishing that it were a week from tomorrow already.
Yeah, well, it will be here soon enough. And again, folks can watch it on Fite Plus if you've got a Fite Plus subscription, or it is available individually as a pay-per-view as well. So if you don't have Fite Plus and don't want to join Fite Plus, you can buy it from Fite TV just to watch this show.
Oh, yes, most definitely. You don't have to have Fight Plus to be able to view it. They do have all the promotions, including Warrior Wrestling. You can buy them the shows individually, but you got to think it's a pretty damn good deal for Fight Plus. Considering all the options you have out there, all for relatively low monthly cost, and you get them on demand. You can watch it live, which I mean, I know I'm going to be, but if for some reason you can't, it's not like you gotta worry too much about it. You got it on demand. You can catch up that next day if you absolutely have to.
Yeah, it's an incredible service. So we're really excited to be back on Fite and to be able to share it with all of the Fite Plus subscribers, as well as those folks that want to order it just as a one-off.
Oh yeah. And you know, like I kind of mentioned at the start, all the kind of the back catalog here, going back to the show I was at, the St. Louis show, and beyond that, gonna be able to view all of it. So if you're thinking, hey, this is your first Warrior Wrestling show that you're gonna be getting to watch, you can, and which I have no doubt that there's gonna be people that might be tuning in for the first time that will be thinking, damn, this is pretty awesome. I'm gonna go check out some of this other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the hope, right? That it is their entryway into the catalog of Warrior Wrestling.
Oh yeah, and you guys got one hell of a catalog. I gotta say that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we've worked really hard over the last 5 years. And I think if you're a fan just discovering us for the first time, that catalog includes Will Ospreay, Rey Mysterio, the Lucha Brothers, Ultimo Dragon, Alberto Del Rio, gosh, Jeff Cobb, Brian Cage, Lance Archer, Joey Janela. The list goes on and on and on and on. So if you're just falling into the Warrior pit, welcome.
It, Bronson Reed, Jonah at the time, the Briscoe brothers, God rest his soul, but oh God, so many big names coming through, and we mentioned some people, some up and comers coming through that getting to get introduced to them all. It's epic. I'm excited. October 6th in South Bend, Indiana. It's going to be another great one. Who is going to house FTC LLC going to? Are they going to be standing at the end of the night? Who knows? You'll have to tune in October 6th to find out. I can't say enough how excited I am about it.
And we're excited to have you watching and have everybody who's listening watching on the 6th. Hopefully we do well for everybody and provide you some great wrestling entertainment. And like we said a moment ago, once you've come in to see us for the 6th, come take a look at the back catalog and see all that we have to offer.
Oh, most definitely. Well, that is about all we have. I think we ran through that whole card. It's a stacked one. I'm excited, as I keep on sounding like a broken record how many times I say it, but I can't help it. I'm excited. Be sure to tune in. Thank you again for coming on, taking the time to talk to me tonight, to run down this amazing card. I can't wait.
Same, Mo. Great to see you, my friend. We'll see you soon.
Definitely see you soon.